Work it, make it, do it. Makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster. Makes us stronger, more than ever. After our work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster. Makes us stronger, more than ever. After our
SBTV Nation, it's your boy, the Dream in the house, and good morning to you on this Tuesday. Oh my God, just waking up after a lazy, nasty, ugly, sleepy, rainy, hazy, nasty game last night. I got my boy that had it on the other end. What's going on, yo?
Killer Cam, baby. Undefeated, man. Undefeated.
Oh my God, this dude is still undefeated. It was just a gut-wrenching, awful game.
It was pretty nasty. It was
and
really
the only
nasty.
thing that I am happy about is I'm happy that Killer Cam is 7-0 because the Green Bay Packers are coming into town on Sunday. And because Killer Cam is 7-0 and the Green Bay Packers are 6-1, Vegas should be a little bit favorable in the numbers that they put out on Cam because the Panthers are awful, son. I'm sorry.
Well, I can tell you one thing, man. I did watch the game front to back, and that defense was out on the field most of the game, man.
Son, he keeps them like that. They stay like that because like you saw my man Ted Ginn last night, who, by the way, Pam is calling to see if they could get Ted Ginn sponsorship because you saw that pass that he missed. His guys are awful.
Oh my
Greg
God!
Olsen.
Yeah, that was the worst, one of the worst drops of the year, man. Right in his hands, player.
For a touchdown to win the game.
It's like, wow. You could tell. You could see him screaming on the sidelines too, man. And if they didn't win that game, it would have been definitely that was one of the big plays that would have won the game for Killer Cam. So it would have been nuts if they actually ended up losing because of that.
Indianapolis Colts, dude. You know what my thing is? What's wrong with trying to play a full game of football?
I don't know, brother.
What's the problem? You know what, man? You know, football right now, I'm telling you, son, just really, really, really gets me a little bit agitated. I don't understand. I watch a few of these teams. They, do not play full games of football. They come out, they goof around, they play around, drop some balls, throw some bad passes, dirt balls, whatever, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Then at the end of the game, they want to scramble, and then they want to hustle it out. Then you see them in the post-game interview, and they talk about how tough a game they played. It's like, you didn't play a tough game. You played a tough quarter.
Andrew Luck had 40 yards going into the fourth quarter, man.
Unbelievable, dude.
It was crazy just what I was watching out there. But, hey, to his defense, I mean, he did have defenders in his face the entire game, and it was pouring rain out there. Did you see those cats that were whatever,
the grappling down guys?
Yeah, they were coming down. They hung a sign in the stadium.
They were protesting a gas company. We actually shouldn't even be talking about them today because they're actually stupid to be at a game doing that, moving people out of their own. Listen, if you got I got a gripe with a whole bunch of things, whole bunch of people, all right? I got issues with all kinds of stuff. I hate the way people drive. I don't like some of the taxes I got in my state and city. I got issues with that. But when I do my complaining, I send a letter. I vocalize that way. There's no need for me to be at a public venue making other people uncomfortable. People are there with their kids and stuff. Yep. You know what I mean? You got these people are so inconsiderate of other people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just like a dusty situation, and I'm not really feeling that.
No, definitely not. And you never know what is going on in that situation. I can't believe they got into the stadium with all them hooks and all that stuff in their possession.
Yeah, no, dude, you know what my thing is? No, I could believe they did because they tend to let you in now. You can bring in a backpack and stuff. They will let you in now with some of that paraphernalia at some of the stadiums. But my whole thing is, dude, just imagine sitting there with your kid. You want to bring them out to an NFL game
and pay $2 G's.
Pay like $2 G's is right. And then you got people grappling from the ceiling like Batman or something. You know what I'm doing? Kick rocks with that. That's not cool.
I know. When they came down, I'm sure people went ham on them too.
That's not cool. People they cleared out all the seats, and the cops were all around the whole thing. You know what I mean? They cleared all the people out of their seats in case the idiots fell.
Yeah, right. So stupid, man. But hey, whatever. It is what it is, and that was one of the I guess one of the most
exciting.
There wasn't much action in the game until the fourth quarter, though, man. So it was what was it 10-6 for a minute there?
Mm-hmm.
It was brutal, man. But anyway, I was going back and forth between that and just so you know, Dream.
Yes, sir.
Next week's game in Carolina is a pick'em.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm going to run out when we get off the show.
Taking a flight? You got to take a flight to Vegas, kid?
It is time to take a flight to Vegas. Give me 2 tickets to Vegas. Get on the plane.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. Yeah, a lot of all the lines are already out for next week. A lot of big stuff going on. A lot of great matchups. Looking very much forward to it. A couple of beatdowns I could already see on my radar. Going to happen
me and
next
my
week.
boy Kid picks FSU jackets. If you guys, whoever's interested in getting on the FSU bandwagon for this week to bleed Clemson, holla at your boy.
It's not happening, player.
We just want them to beat Clemson just so Weave will stop posting. It's not even really about Clemson or FSU. It's about Weaver posting.
The Clemson Tigers, man. Well, hey, you know what? Tonight is when they announce like the top. I want to say it's the top 25 teams that all have a shot to get in.
Yep.
And top 4, the way it's looking right now, and the guy was on last night at halftime. I forgot his name, but Kurt something, whatever his name is. He's feeling the same way I am right now as far as The Ohio State University, Clemson, believe it or not, which I can't believe I'm saying that, Baylor, and Alabama.
Yeah,
That's
I heard
the top
that.
4.
I wanted to say big ups to San Francisco 49er management as Carlos Hyde is a little bit hurt. All right. Reggie Bush is out for the season. They're going to bench Cap. And in the midst of all that, they let Vernon Davis go to Denver. So if there was any question mark that the front office of the Niners have absolutely no clue what they're doing, this is a big indication.
Absolutely. I think Vernon Davis is going to be a nice little weapon for your boy.
Son, dope weapon for them. I talked about Cap being benched week 1. Took him 7 weeks to figure that out. Hey, good to see they're up on their game.
How much money does Cap make?
Oh, son, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
$100 million?
No. He doesn't make. Oh God, thank God. No, he doesn't make $100 million. But he makes good. I will look it up for you. Trust me, it's a absolute horrific number.
Horrific.
It's a horrific number.
Oh man.
He makes $10,400,000.
Yeah, but didn't he sign a big contract for a few
No,
years?
but I think that's for this year, and then I think let's see what the full contract is for.
Something stupid. And
I know it's heavy. I know it's heavy.
And he's going to be riding the bench.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Who are they putting in for him? Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert.
Oh, wow. It doesn't get much worse than that.
Blaine Gabbert.
Not only are you dishing out a bunch of loot, but now you got Blaine Gabbert coming in. My God.
And other notes, you got Dusty Baker's just been hired as the manager for the Washington Nationals. I don't know. You know, I saw Dusty on the desk at like the Sports Center desk, but for whatever network he was working for. I gotta tell you, man, I don't know that Dusty is like manager ready anymore.
You don't think so, huh?
I mean, he's up there in age now, and I don't know. You know, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. But he seemed like to me a bit like, you know, I don't want to use the word senile, but I guess I kind of want to use that word. Just doesn't seem like to me like he should be coaching. I liked him maybe a little bit in the studio on the desk, but I don't know about him being back at the helm as a manager. But hey, whatever. It is baseball.
It is baseball, and it's not like you got to have any kind of crazy emotion. You don't got to be like yelling at anybody's face or anything before the game like in football. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different package there as far as managing baseball is concerned. I think you could have the most chill demeanor in the world as far as baseball is concerned and, you know, be rocking the managerial position. You feel me?
Right.
But taking a look at your boy Cap, back to it, man. 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Stewart actually emerged
You mean Killer Cam? He said Cap.
Oh, Killer Cam, my bad. And yeah,
Cap, wish he got. When you said those yards, I almost fell out my chair.
Jonathan Stewart, man, 82 yards, 1 touchdown, and anybody that was taking unders in that game yesterday, you were laughing in the first half, and then all of a sudden got blown up in the second half by Andrew Luck, man. I think Andrew Luck finally found a little stride, though, towards the end of that game, man. So maybe he can carry that into next week. I mean, they are 3-5 now, Dream, but they are still tied for the division lead with the Houston Texans, man.
Dude, in 2014, Colin and the 49ers reached a 6-year extension deal, could allow him to earn as much as $126 million from the deal.
That's what I tried to say, $100 million.
$61 million is guaranteed. Are you kidding me?
Yes. I tried to tell you that, man. It was over. I knew it was over 100.
Son, I'm going to go see Cap right now. You know what? Forget going to Vegas. I'm just going to see Cap and say, yo, run me some money for your awful gameplay. I'm just going to go around the NFL and just start collecting from cats. Peyton Ball, have him on the list. Peyton Ball, Matthew Stafford, you know what I'm saying, Breezy. Between them 4, I should be good.
Well, Peyton Ball's been winning, though, man, so you can't really
have
a problem with
I
your
don't
boy.
care about Peyton Ball winning. Peyton Ball's cost me in big games in the past.
Yeah. Made a bunch of donations on your boy.
Peyton Ball always been a regular season juggernaut, so he's still true to form with that. I'm talking about his playoff stuff. The year the Broncos the year that he let the Ravens get him in that year. Then he had the year that they embarrassed themselves in the Super Bowl in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Then he let Breezy get him in the Super Bowl. Trust me, we go way back with Peyton Ball and getting got.
Getting got. Exactly. Well, you know what? I'd like to classify Kaepernick and Ryan Tannehill in that, and Phillip Rivers for that matter, in 3 quarterbacks that have gotten all kinds of money that are just not going to win a big game.
I honestly can't listen, I'll just do this with you. I won't put Rivers in that crew. I'll give Rivers a lot more credit than that.
I agree with you on that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Rivers is, he has played playoff games, got him to playoff games. I believe he did go to an AFC championship game as well, no?
I believe he did.
I believe he did go to an AFC. I'll give Rivers some props on that. I won't put him in that category of Tannehill and Kaepernick, but gosh, Kaepernick. Ooh.
I know. Well, they're in the same sentence as not being able to win a big game and getting all kinds of money, player.
A big game?
Yeah.
How about a regular game?
Couple of lines to talk about as far as, well, before we even get into that, man, why don't we talk about the NBA last night, man, because the Grizzlies got stomped by Golden State. And we got a guest coming on here really shortly, guys. We're going to be bringing in Brian McCooney. He's from the Associated Press to be talking about some NBAs. But before we do that, I just want to say that Golden State, son, they're the same team, man.
No doubt. They're definitely good. They're off the hook again. I see that. But the thing with Golden State, though, the season wears on Golden State's gameplay. Because you remember Golden State last year, out the gates, on fire, doing their thing. And as the season wears, they calm it down a little bit. So I'm not going to get too excited about them. Yeah, they're great. They're awesome. But their style of gameplay, I don't know how I like their style of gameplay in playoff basketball. They had some really close calls last year, and there's some points last year when I was really scratching my head. They came in the playoffs really hot, and then, a lot fizzled down in certain series. So there's going to be a couple of matchups for them, I would say, at the end of the season. Obviously the Spurs are going to be one of those teams, maybe the Grizzlies again, who knows. But there's going to be some certain matchups that we'll have to keep our eye on with them because, they're another one. They come out the gate, they're having fun, they're playing, they're, shooting threes right across the half court, and Steph Curry scoring, 40, 50 points or whatever, look incredible. And then they get in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they drop down to he can only score 20 to 30, and everybody's questioning and looking, and there's, the defense is, in question as well. So I ain't going to go crazy with them yet.
All right. Well, I could tell you one team, and you're going to hate that I'm saying this, but and I was watching it last night, and you and I were texting back and forth, but, son, the Knicks are going to be better than they were last year.
Well, that's good, but that's still not all that, though.
They're going to be better than they were last year. I mean, listen, Porzingis looks like a big dummy out there. But, you know, he is able to, he is 7'3", and he's able to block a bunch of shots. And especially, I love, like, the 6-foot point guards coming at him, trying to shoot. And he's just, like, just swats it right out of their hands, man. But I think they're going to be better, man. I think they're a little bit more aggressive this year. Carmelo's obviously doing his thing. I mean, you got some pretty decent talent out there. Obviously, the San Antonio Spurs knew how to get the job done last night. Especially, I mean, I think they had a little added incentive just from them being aware that the Knicks have beat them. I want to say like 4 out of 6 times, Dream.
Really?
So they had that in the back of their brains, and I'm sure Pop just wasn't having it last night. It was apparent in the game, and they were actually tested in like the first quarter, but after that, Pop kind of did his thing and ran away with it, man. So them and hey, I didn't know that the truth is on the Clips.
I didn't either.
He was out there. Paul Pierce is on the Clippers, man. So the Clippers now, I mean, J.J. Redick, Blake.
Oh, no, I did know that. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
yes, I do remember that.
Chris Paul. Yep. I mean, they got a pretty damn good team this year, man.
I know, but they got the Clippers. You know what? Some of these teams, you just got to – I can't get excited about them because you get excited about these NBA teams in the past, and then they come in the playoffs and it's, it's silliness. So I can't get excited about the Clippers yet. I mean, NBA, the thing with the NBA is the season, is a little bit on the lengthy size, not as long as baseball, but a little bit. Yeah. And the thing is that you can't really figure them out until you get to the playoffs because, like, all of a sudden, all the stuff that worked all regular season long, for some reason, just seems to shut down for some teams in the playoffs. That's why I almost tend to like a style of basketball, like what the Cleveland Cavaliers are playing and the Bulls of the past. Even though I hated that they had no offense, but their styles were built to me for playoff basketball. Some of the run and gun Lob City, the showboat stuff, that just doesn't work in playoff basketball. You know what I mean?
Especially if you're not making your shots.
Right, exactly.
If you're not making your shots, you're in deep trouble. I mean, obviously in any single situation offensively, you're in trouble not making shots. But when you're making long shots, outside the perimeter, outside the arc, and they're not falling, and you're not really good on the offensive glass, you're in big trouble. And the LA Clippers are really weak on the offensive glass stream. With all that size they have out there, DeAndre Jordan and Blake and all that, they get offensive rebounded like every game, man.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know why that is. I'm sure Doc will be worried, working on that throughout the season with them. I have never understood that, but they do need to definitely get their post-game together in that respect. DeAndre Jordan should be like just dominating the whole thing, too.
I know. Well, he dominates the bench when it comes to shoot free throws, man. He pulls them right out of there now, man. So, hey, it is what it is, man. And we'll go back to NBA.
That's
when
why I'm telling you, dude. I got to be honest with you. The Cavs, if they can stay healthy and get Kyrie back in the lineup, that Cav team is going to be an issue.
I did tell people to stay away from him in the first half yesterday, man. And sure enough, the Philadelphia 76ers, for some unknown reason, it's like the Knicks and Spurs. It just seems like they play the Cavs play around with the 76ers for some reason. I can't put my finger on it. I don't understand it. Maybe they're just playing down to their competition or whatever. But for the most part, it just seems like they almost, I don't want to say struggle, but I mean, they only won by 7 and they were given 13 yesterday. So something to keep in the back of your brains when those two teams play each other, guys. OJFB is out here rocking on Twitter, along with everybody else at SBTV Nation, guys. Take a look at it. If you could retweet our show, we would very much appreciate it. I got a couple minutes before our guest calls in. Dream, I just want to tell you about another line that came out, which is a pretty interesting game, I feel, and the line is kind of crazy. You got your boy going back into Indianapolis this week, and Denver is only minus 2.5 with an under-over of 45. Less than a field goal. The Denver Broncos are favored at Indianapolis.
if you guys are looking at those lines, you might want to, get on them now before they start moving or grooving. If they are gonna move and groove, but you might see some movement, especially out of that particular one. I think that you're going to leave that Packer-Panther one right where it's at, which I just love.
I'm dying for that. Be careful with that, though.
Oh, I'm going to be careful.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm going to be careful.
Yeah, be careful with that, man.
I'm going to be careful, man. Brother.
I don't know. You know what? I love that you just, have this, you remember the year that we had, the disdain for the Arizona Cardinals? And we just kept going against them and against them again, and they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. You remember that?
I do.
Remember when it started with Shaky Jake and the Carolina Panthers?
But that was the playoff run that we really were up. I didn't mess with them outside of that. It was the playoff run. But that year, Carolina was dope with Delhomme. He just lost it in that game. You know what? He just fell right off the map.
5 interceptions in that game, man. We were talking about Shaky Jake Delhomme back in the day when they played the Arizona Cardinals. This was the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, man. And Arizona made it all the way to the Super Bowl and played the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Pittsburgh Steelers did not cover, though.
No, the Steelers didn't cover.
So if you were betting Zizzle, you were laughing all the way to the bank. All
Zizzle got a guard. No, I think the Steelers scored at the end of the game. I was going to say, though. But, yeah, I remember that series as well. I remember that. Yeah, Arizona was a pest that year, and I didn't like them. I like the Arizona this year way more than I like that team.
My man TK Wins is looking at Memphis tonight, man. The Grizzlies, ouch. After the beatdown last night, brother, I wish you the best of luck with that.
Bounce back scenario.
Bounce back, yeah. They scored about a half.
They're playing Sacramento, dog.
Yeah,
that's why he's looking at that.
Well, they, not for nothing, but I get it because they did get stomped by my boy by 30 points in their building, and then came back and won pretty handily. So
Lake Show looking for their first win. Kobe's been in the news as of late talking about what his problems is. He's upset. He's mad. They can't figure it out. Might be a decent spot to take a look out west tonight with Lake Show at home, maybe trying to get their first win. You got a semi-soft Nuggets team coming into town. Lakers may be able to find a way to get the win tonight. What does Vegas have? You got a Vegas spread on that, a Vegas number on that game?
Yeah, give me 1 second. You're already into the NBA. Let's take a look and see what you got
went there
here.
with the Grizzlies.
I did go there with the Grizzlies, man. So hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up. Lake Show's a team I just pick on. I like picking on them. The Denver Nuggets given 1 point with an under/over of 207.5.
Yeah, you might want to look over at Lakerland tonight. They may find a way to win. That's a pretty good spot for them. That Denver team's not all that. The Laker team they're better than their record is. I mean, they're not going to be great. Don't get me wrong, they're not going to be good, but they're better than that record is. I could see the Lakers finding a way to get this game won. There'll be some people out there at the was it Staples Center now? I don't think it's called the Forum anymore. I was going to say the Forum. That's how old I am. The Staples Center. The stars will be out in full fashion. They'll be out there and they'll hustle their butts off. So you might want to look to LA tonight.
You think so, huh? You're putting your stamp on it.
Very light lean. I think the Lakers are going to get a win tonight. One thing is these teams amidst the adversity, and Kobe's a guy just like LeBron. His name gets in the press, and people start complaining and worrying about what he's doing. He's very cognizant of that, and usually tries to respond back in a positive fashion. Plus, like I told you, the team's not that bad. I mean, they're not good, but they're not that bad. You know what I mean? And with the 0-3 at home trying to get a win, I think they could come together and probably get their first win tonight.
God, that's an ugly spot.
Yeah, no, it is. No, actually, I like the spot, believe it or not. I think it's a good spot for them because they're not going to beat a lot of teams. But the Nuggets is one that they can. That's why I like the spot.
Well, guy, you know what? I can just tell you that you are not getting the Hatter seal of approval on that. I'm just going to kind of fall back and wish you the best of luck, Playboy.
No doubt. We had the seal of approval on you with the Dallas Stars last night.
Dallas Stars, man. Well, hey, you know what? You got me back with the Vancouver Canucks, man, who won 4-1 yesterday, man. So congratulations on that particular one. But the Dallas Stars, don't expect them to, to lose back-to-back games. I'm just going to leave it at that.
And they are back-to-back, and they're going into the Bruins tonight.
Yeah, well, they are an underdog. I did see that early. Actually, I looked at that late last night, man. They're an underdog going into the Bruins. The Bruins have been pretty good.
The Brew Crew, man, I've watched him. You know what I've worried about them? I've watched him lose gas at the end of games, like the 7-minute mark in the third period. Like, they look dead.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with them as far as their endurance is concerned, but I've watched them several times now at the end of towards the end of the games. They really look tired and exhausted. So maybe they've made some adjustment with their line changes and whoever they're getting down there, and maybe they're getting the rest better. But they just look like they've got some stamina issues towards the end of the game. And I'll tell you right now, the Dallas Stars will work you.
They will work you.
They will work you.
And every single guy on their team is a fantasy beast, kid.
They will work
Crazy, man. Segun is on there. Their goalie, Nemi. He's really good. There's a bunch of other guys, too, man. Spezza, I want to say, I play with. A lot of good guys on Dallas, man. So, guys, I mean, they are definitely scoring a lot of points. Obviously, last night, for some reason, they just could not get the job done. A lot of shots on goal, Dream.
Because it was too easy. And it's that it's that thing that we always say in sports like baseball, hockey, basketball. Your worst teams, they're still going to win games. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're going to no teams go. There's no team that's gone like winless in baseball. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think.
No, you're right.
I think there's those teams that has winless in baseball, basketball, or hockey. So you're gonna find spots where even a bad team, is going to get a win. You know what I'm saying? And that was the situation with the Maple Leafs. Lost a few games in a row, and they're obviously going to go out there and hustle and try. They're professional athletes as well, and that's what I'm saying. Lakers is a pretty good spot tonight because the Nuggets aren't all that. You're going to catch a win, but for the most part, it'll stay true to form.
Absolutely. Good morning to Mr. Brian Mahoney from the Associated Press. How are you today this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, we're fantastic. Thank you very much for calling in. We appreciate it. We're right in the middle of the NBA, and we're very excited to see what's going on so far.
Yeah, great start for Golden State, and it's great to be back. It's a short off season for them, but it looks like they picked up right where they left off.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they laid the smackdown on the Grizzlies last night, man. We were watching that, and myself and my co-host, my name is Rob the Mad Hatter, and you were talking to the Dream as well. Him and I were going back and forth, and my God, it was just a bloodbath from the beginning.
Yeah, it was one of those, actually I was out at the Knicks-Spurs game last night, and I drove home and opened up Twitter again, and you kind of look at the score, and you say, wait a minute, that can't be right. As good as Golden State is, I have such respect for Memphis. I could never imagine them losing by such a margin, and, you scroll through and you see everyone else is writing the same score, so it must be true, but hard to believe when you first saw it.
Absolutely. Brian, can you let everybody know a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your resume, so they know who they are being acquainted with right now, please?
Sure. I've been the NBA writer for the Associated Press since 2005, based up in New York. I do the Knicks Nets. I cover the league office and all the main NBA events, finals, All-Star, any kind of other league issues, and the international basketball. So I've covered the last few Olympics, World Basketball Championships, and that sort of thing.
Awesome. Speaking of the Knicks, I was just discussing with the Dream that I honestly feel like they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs or anything, although every team does apparently get into the playoffs, it seems like. Half of the teams do anyway. But I think that they're better with Porzingis and I think that they're more aggressive. I like Carmelo's play right now. I think that they were kind of, giving the Spurs fits in the beginning. What's your thoughts on the Knicks? Do you think they're going to be a little bit better this year?
I do. And obviously, it sounds simple, nowhere to go but up, but when you win 17 games. But, watching them in the preseason, I know preseason 9 times out of 10 means absolutely nothing, but sometimes you can kind of tell if a team wants to compete, if they have some talent to compete. And I think watching them a couple times, you can kind of see where maybe Robin Lopez had a little more offensive game than people thought. Maybe Porzingis was going to be tougher than people thought. People looked at him as a skinny 20-year-old. Maybe he could be pushed around, and it looks like he can push back. Yep. And Carmelo looked healthy. So, yeah, coming into the season, I had going into it, if you would ask me, I probably would have said maybe the Knicks win high 20s, low 30s in the summer, and maybe I push that up now. Maybe I get him into the mid 30s. I think it's possible. They've looked pretty solid so far.
You know what my thing is with the Knicks, and I'm actually not really still. I'm not still there with them as far as how much better they're going to be this season. And maybe that's like my personal thing. So I need to get around that. But my thing with them is Carmelo Anthony, to me, I don't feel that there's certain players that make the players around them better. And Carmelo Anthony does not emulate that dynamic to me. He's like a player. It just seems like he's more about, listen, I'm going out to do what I got to do. If you guys want to play, that's cool. And if not, that's cool too, but whatever. That's just, I don't know. I get that feel from him. What's your thoughts on that?
I sort of understand it. It's something a lot of people feel, and it's something Carmelo's battled his whole career in a lot of ways. That he's a guy who gets his own, doesn't make his teammates better, and I see both sides of it. Honestly, I think sometimes he doesn't get a fair shake. I look at the year a couple of years ago when they won the division title, and he played tremendous on that 54-win team. He changed positions. He went and played power forward because they needed him to fill that spot when Amari Stoudemire was hurt. And I don't think he necessarily was up there chucking. I think he moved the ball to the outside shooters when they spaced the floor pretty well. And I think a year like last year, I don't think he felt they had that talent. They certainly didn't, and I think he tried to take more on his shoulders and didn't look like a good team player. I don't know if it's because he's not or because he felt he couldn't be. But, I think right now, I think he feels confident that they got some pieces here now that he can play with, and he doesn't have to do it himself. And, certainly, when they get Aaron Aflalo back, that's a guy who they felt when they signed him in the summer was going to make a difference, be their starting two guard. Right now they're starting, Sasha Vujacic, who wasn't even in the NBA the last couple of years. So, again, if these guys are, if they fit nicely and Carmelo feels that they can, help him carry the load, I think you will see him try and be a better team player. Whether it leads to success or not remains to be seen.
Yeah. And, I watched the guys like J.R. Smith and Amani Shumpert, and then I watched him migrate over to Cleveland, and then, I know they weren't great in the playoffs or at least in the finals with Cleveland, but I did see a level of their gameplay improve playing with Cleveland. Now, I'm sure, a lot of that has to do with the dynamic of playing with LeBron, and you could be excited, especially when you're playing on a winning team. But I thought better production out of them in that scenario than they were doing with the Knicks. Now, the flip side also to the Knicks that I have a question mark of, I don't know that Derek Fisher is the best coaching fit staff there. Your thoughts on that?
Obviously, that was a big question last year, and certainly he didn't answer the question. So, whether, you could take a guy who come right in off playing and win and do well. Now, obviously, we saw Steve Kerr do it. We saw Jason Kidd make the playoffs his first year with a veteran team, but Derek Fisher had a horrendous team last year, and he didn't, certainly show that he was a guy who could make a team better. Now, this year, he's got more pieces. He's got to show that he can be a good NBA coach, and it's only 4 games in, hard to tell that yet, but certainly he looks a little more comfortable and confident than he did last year, and hopefully for the Knicks' sake that he'll, take growth along with them and he'll show that he can do this job.
It's crazy. I wouldn't mind to see the Knicks get Thibodeau, who used to coach the Bulls. I think he'd be a great coach for the Knicks.
Well, he'd be a great coach for anybody, I think. I think he was one of the best in the league. But, you could see where some of the things that they certainly have lacked the last couple of years, just being a solid organization, focused on the court all the time and never really taking nights off mentally.
Right.
These are kind of things the Bulls didn't do, the kind of things the Knicks do unfortunately do. So
right.
Certainly you could see where a guy like that can make a difference for them.
Definitely.
I have a question for you. So we're looking at a really big matchup, and my co-host over there is really high on this team in the East. And
hold on.
I am trying to put my finger on them to see how they are this year. And he is talking about the Atlanta Hawks at the Miami Heat. Dream, you've been all over this Heat team the last couple of days, saying they're vastly improved.
Yes.
Brian, what's your thoughts on the Miami Heat this year?
Well, they're certainly improved, and that's just, a fact of getting bodies back there, getting Chris Bosh after last year. And, they certainly have the talent, with that's good, getting Dragic last year and, having Wade in that backcourt. That's one of the best backcourts in the East. And, the question with them is the depth. How can they be if they start to lose bodies again? Because starting five-wise, Miami is one of the best in the East. And if you just base on, the lineup they're throwing out there, you pick them probably to be a team that's going to compete for home court in the playoffs. But when you start subtracting bodies, which happens over the course of 82-game season, is there enough there behind them? And that's something that probably we'll have to wait and see on.
I think Whiteside, for the Heat, I think if that pans out right, like it looks like it may, I think that's going to be, that could be a great combination.
Well, you look at him, and I've said this for a lot of years. You just watch the NBA. If you have, some talent and some skill, and you play hard every night, with the talent that a guy like Whiteside has, you look at right now Andre Drummond in Detroit. If you just go out there and outwork guys with that kind of, physical gifts that those guys have, you're going to put up numbers. And, Whiteside is a guy who can do that. And, right now you've got to find a way to work as hard as he's working if you're playing against him. And it's not easy to do. Certainly Atlanta, a team that doesn't have great size inside, they're not a great rebounding team. That's going to be a problem for them. Whiteside is a guy who is not a good matchup at all for them.
Right.
Yeah, looking at the game tonight here, I got, sorry to cut you off, Dream, but Atlanta at the Miami Heat, and Miami Heat is favored to win this game. I think Miami can win this game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, on the home floor, certainly. I have no problem thinking they will win the game. And, Atlanta's still kind of getting a little bit of health issues together. Obviously, Cephalosha, they're not playing every night yet, and Kyle Korver's been banged up a little bit. So, they're not at full strength yet. But I also think, Atlanta's won 3 in a row. And, after, a real bad opening night for them when they lost on their home floor to Detroit, they played much better the last couple nights, obviously. So we're starting to see a little bit of what Atlanta was last year. But, yeah, this is a good measuring stick game for Miami if they want to be as good as, look, a lot of people say Atlanta was not nearly as good as they showed last year, and Miami wasn't nearly as bad as they looked last year. So,
right.
If Miami wants to prove that's true, this is the kind of game on their home floor they need to show it, I think.
I'll tell you, as Miami goes on, if they can keep this thing healthy, and that's a big question because obviously, they pick and choose with Wade all the time. But, if they can keep this thing healthy, when you look at this lineup that they have, you look at Wade at the shooting guard, you look at, they have Deng, then they've also, brought the dynamic in of Winslow, who's great coming off the bench, in the shooting forward spot. You got Whiteside there. You also have Bosch going out shooting as well, sometimes from the three-point line, which we'd pretty much rather have him under the basket. And then Mario Chalmers in there as well. I mean, this team has a lot of the elements. If everybody can stay healthy, play cohesively as a unit, and even Amari Stoudemire backing up a little bit down there, he's going to be a good. This Heat team to me is very, very talented.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, if he can play a lot of nights, and you never know with Amari if he still can, that's a tremendous coming, him coming off the bench, and, Birdman could still help out there. I mean, there's some veteran big guys who, who they can use, and, Haslam they don't use very much, but this is still a guy who can come in there and bang some people around. So, yeah, there are certainly guys there. It's just a matter of, is there enough offensive guys there if, the nights that Wade has to sit, or the night that maybe Deng doesn't necessarily have it, or he's got to focus too much on his own defense at that spot, and maybe can't score enough. So, again, we don't know if they have all the answers yet, but they certainly have a lot more answers than they had last year.
Gotcha, definitely. And Brian, let me ask you now. I was telling, prior to you coming on, we were talking about, I'm trying not to get overly excited about West Coast style of basketball, especially in regards to the Clippers and Golden State, because we saw last year in the playoffs, some of what happened with these teams were, the jump shooting teams, and Barkley always says this, you live by the jump shot, you die by the jump shot. But some of these teams, once you get into that playoff type basketball, and you play teams like the Spurs, like the Grizzlies, and then we'll move it into like the Cavs, their style of gameplay seems to kind of dictate the landscape of the way the games are going to be played as far as playoff basketball is concerned. And I'm just wondering, what's your thoughts as far as like the West style of like Golden State and the Clippers in regards to like what Cleveland and the Spurs are bringing to the table?
Well, that's always kind of been, Barkley was always right for a lot of years, in the playoffs. You don't, that freewheeling style gets shut down and you don't, you don't win with jumpers. But the flip side of that is there's not a lot of teams that shot jumpers as well as Golden State does in history. I mean, this is a special kind of team you've got to shut down. So as we saw at Memphis last night, even good defensive teams, it's hard to do that when a guy like Steph Curry gets hot. I think now it's just a matter of some of these teams are so loaded that, in the playoffs, maybe if you scored 105 in the regular season, maybe you could hold teams at 95 in the playoffs, and maybe that's still true. But good luck slowing down, Curry and Thompson, or Durant and Westbrook, or everything the Spurs have added now, or the Clippers with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. These teams now have 3-4 scorers at a time on the floor, and that's not like it was in the old days where you had to contain 2 guys. Now it's some teams put 4 guys out there who can shoot it, and that makes it a lot more difficult. I think in a lot of ways, you look right now, I think almost 2/3 of the league is averaging 100 points. I know it's almost it's only 4 games in a season, but a lot of these teams are going to continue this. This is just the way the game is now, and they have the ability to keep this kind of thing going.
Right.
One game on my radar tonight, and as crazy as this sounds, the Detroit Pistons are 3-0. I know it's early in the season and all that, but I was pretty impressed the way they went into Atlanta and won. What's your thoughts on this Detroit team? What have they done in the offseason to possibly make a little bit of a playoff run this year?
Well, it's interesting. They let Greg Monroe go, and I thought he was one of their best players, and, I'm not sure that's something I'd want to do if I were them, but it certainly has opened up more space for Andre Drummond, who was the player in the week in the East, last week, who's just going out and getting every single rebound, it seems like. And, the thing with them is that, they didn't necessarily have the outside shooting for a lot of, and teams are kind of packing it in. But right now, they have added a little bit of shooting, and when they miss, he goes and gets it. So they certainly look like a team that, again, is going to play hard for Stan Van Gundy. He's not a kind of guy who tolerates, lackluster efforts, and they're not giving it to him right now, and they're defending a lot better. And, I don't know, again, how long this lasts, but certainly that was a nice take-notice win to start the season, and they've kept it going.
Yep, definitely. I'm looking forward to tonight's game and seeing what they got because they have 0-3 Indiana coming into town. So, they got to keep the winning ways going, and we'll see what ends up going on with that. Guys, you're listening right now to Brian Mahoney from the Associated Press. Dream, do you have any other questions for our guest?
I just wanted to, the only thing I wanted to say, and I'm going backwards, and I hate doing that, but I just wanted to just talk about this just a little teeny bit more. And I did notice last year, though, it seemed to me last year that while Golden State did run and gun most of the season, it seemed to me in the playoffs, their game did evolve, and they ended up slowing down a lot in the playoffs, and going to a different style of gameplay in order to make that run and win in the finals. They changed, and it was no longer so much of the run and gun that they did, at the beginning of the season. Like we see the Clippers we saw the Clippers end up getting beat, by Houston. That style didn't work against them. So I'm just noticing it just seems to me like these teams that start out with the run and gun style, the Lob City, all the fun and the back and forth and all the jump shooting, eventually in the playoffs, as they get deeper in the playoffs, it comes back to like that kind of back to basics type basketball.
Yeah, and I think people sometimes forget having good individual defenders makes a big difference. I used to say this about the old D'Antoni Suns too. Everyone just looked at they gave up too many points, but I always thought in the playoffs at some point, they could stop teams. They had, Sean Marion, Raja Bell, guys who could defend pretty well. And you look at Golden State now, Draymond Green is a very good individual defender. Awesome. Klay Thompson is a guy who can defend their team's best player. Andre Iguodala, for years, was a guy who would defend their team's best player. These are guys who know how to defend. So, yes, when the game becomes a defensive-minded game, they can put lineups out there to do that. And, certainly, you're not going to ever slow LeBron, which they did in the finals, but they slowed everyone else pretty well. And I think, this is something that, they can do. Maybe it's not their greatest strength, but they certainly, when it's time to stop teams, I think they can put players on the floor that can do it.
And speaking of LeBron, we haven't even talked about him. How don't we talk about LeBron? All the NBA we've been talking about. And we don't talk about the King. What's your thoughts on King James and the crew this year?
Well, we have to obviously wait a long time to see them at full strength till Kyrie Irving comes back. And, I think LeBron is just trying to, get through it until then, between having to still carry more of a load than they'd like them to while Irving's out, but not want to carry too much of a load where he uses up too much energy now. And, it's been a nice fit the last couple nights. You look at LeBron, he's averaging, I guess, low 20s, certainly far below what we expect from him, but at the same time, it's probably more than it's just what they want him to do right now. And I think later on in the year, if he is fresh, that makes a big difference. As great as he played in the finals last year, he was the tank was almost on empty. So if they could find a way to get to the finals this year when he has a little more energy left, who knows what he can do? Maybe he gets them across the finish line this time.
Yeah, I'm really scared of them this year. I from what I've seen of them, and obviously it's early, I'm really scared. They look really good to me. I like what I'm seeing. At first, I didn't think LeBron and Kevin Love, were getting along with each other, behind the scenes. It looks like they're having fun on the court and they're getting along with each other. And if they're getting everybody to buy into what they're doing, I really like how they look this year. And I think they'll only improve. Obviously, if they get Kyrie back, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, they're my pick to win it this year. Okay. I think, LeBron's still the best player in the league. Kyrie Irving, to me, I think people sometimes forget how good he is. I think he's a little underrated almost. This is a guy last year had a couple of 50-point games. I mean, Can
he stay healthy, though? We can't get him healthy.
Well, if you're not going to pick Cleveland, that's the reason right there. I mean, he does not stay healthy, and he's got to show that he can. And but they have the shooting. They have Mozgov inside, and now having Varejao back and Tristan Thompson. They've got a nice big man rotation in there. So. Yeah, and they've upgraded getting Mo Williams at the point guard spot, to eventually back up Irving. So they have enough this time. Obviously, they didn't last year, especially when the injuries set in, but I do think that this year they have enough to do it.
I agree with you, brother. I happen to be right on the same page with you. I think that it's their year this year. I really do.
And last year they started off really slow, so, and they made it all the way to the finals without anybody besides my boy LeBron. So we'll see what ends up going down with that. Guys, you're listening to Brian Mahoney. Thank you very much for joining our show. We really appreciate it. We enjoyed your NBA knowledge and look forward to rocking and rolling and probably getting you back on the show at some point.
That'd be great. Thanks for having me today.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. We really appreciate it. And you are on Twitter at Brian C. Mahoney, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you again. We appreciate
it. Take care, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, Dream. Stellar information.
No doubt. Definitely like talking to him.
We got some really good NBA guys, huh?
Yeah, we have got good NBA guys. The thing, though, I want to reiterate, man, one thing I learned last year about the NBA, though, is if you can't adjust that West Coast running gun, I'm telling you, that has to calm down in the play. It calms down in the playoffs. We get excited about the Clippers and Golden State. We remember Golden State struggling in a couple of them series, against the Grizzlies, and then even in Cleveland in the first couple of games till they figured it out. They slowed down their pace, started doing a little better shot solution. They let Iguodala and Green take over as opposed to Thompson and Curry so much. Yeah. You watched that. I watched that dynamic last year, and I'm watching it again as it's going on this year. And I'm telling you that a team like the Cavs right now is better built, in my opinion, is better built for this playoff run, than some of the Lobs. Now, obviously, you can't get around the talent that Golden State has. I mean, they're phenomenal and dynamic shooters. But, Pop's won that way too in the past with him being out west. Even though the Spurs are a West Coast team, they've always played kind of with that East Coast mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Got it. All right. Well, anyway, getting over to tonight's card in the NBA. Try to see if there's any gems for you and myself. Looking at this Atlanta Hawks Miami Heat game, this game kind of bothers me a little bit. I don't think that I would even think about plugging a side here, but what are you on? You on Miami or no?
Not really. Okay. It's a slight. I didn't have opinion about that one. I think I like them, obviously. I like the team. I like the makeup of the team. So, I like them a lot better than the Hawks. So, but I really wasn't even looking at this game per se. To look at it really quickly right now, so I would have to definitely slightly lean Miami as being home in their own house. I don't see why they can't come to play tonight. They've had a night off, so they should be prepared.
Yep. Okay. I think I agree with my man TK and the Memphis Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies bounce back and beat up on Sacramento.
The Grizzlies may bounce back. I don't know if I want to go out. I've got really no opinion on that particular game. But I could see it. I mean, I'm not saying that I can't. I don't see it.
Right.
I can see it, but I got really no opinion there.
All right, got you. And the 3-0 Detroit Pistons are hosting the 0-3 Indiana Pacers, man. And the line is now 5.5 with Detroit being favored. You think Detroit keeps the winning ways or what?
I don't know. I haven't caught them yet this season. I haven't caught Detroit. I have seen I have seen the Pacers, and they're a mess again. Yes. I don't know what happened to them. But you talk about falling off. Man, they fell off big time. I haven't seen the Pistons. I got to get a look at them before I can go to talk about them. So I'm not gonna. I got no opinion on that.
I got you. All right. Well, let's. Why don't we shoot over?
Hey, but wait a minute. Yep. Hold on. Over here on the very far end, we do have a matchups of the winless, as we have the Pelicans against the Magic.
Nasty game, man.
Neither team has won a game yet. And I like to tell you guys that I do think that the Magic are a tad bit on the pesty side and have always been. So I've got no opinion here neither. I can't go there.
Yeah, they were kind of playing the Bulls a little tight the other day.
Yeah, they're pesty, dude. They are pesty.
Yep.
But the Bulls hate covering the spread. The Bulls, they won't blow you out no matter what. Even they got dope new offense, they still don't want to blow you out.
No, definitely not, man. All right, let's shoot over to the ice and see what we got going on over there, brother. Because and
Thibodeau would be an awesome coach for the Knicks, by the way.
I think you're right there. Although people don't like his attitude.
But the Knicks need that attitude because he's more of like what the Knicks were when they were good with Jeff Van Gundy, with the old James Oakley days and all that. Thibodeau's kind of like that, blue collar like that. I think that's just what that team needs. But let's move on over to the ice because there's a lot of ice games going on.
You don't like Fishbone?
I don't, bro. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't like him. I don't know what it is about him. I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy, whatever. I just don't. I don't know. I don't.
All right, man. Taking a look at the ice. Let's see what we got here, man. We already talked briefly about the Dallas Stars coming into the Boston Bruins. Dallas Stars 9-3 losers last night, going into the 6-3 Boston Bruins. Man, Boston minus 140.
Hold on, let me stop you for a timeout for a minute. My thing with a head coach, and especially a player head coach, if you weren't like a really, really good player, and Fishbone was good, I mean, but not a great. I think some time needs to go by before you become the head coach for the players to kind of respect you, because what they're saying, to me, what they're saying in the back of their mind, like they're remembering you were just out there like 2 years ago with OK Sizzle, like dusty.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Jason Kidd too.
You know, and I don't like Jason Kidd. I don't like none of Jason Kidd's stuff. I don't like him at all.
And neither do his team, apparently.
Yeah, I don't like him as a person. I don't like the behind-the-scenes stuff with him, the drinking and stuff with him. I don't like anything about Jason Kidd. I just don't like him. Sorry. But with Fishbone, I can see his guys being like, look at what's he know? Why is he look at what he used to do. You know what I mean?
I get it.
He lapped out his last couple of years on the bench at OKC or whatever. So that's one of the small things that I have an issue with him about.
Fishbone was on like every team in the NBA, I think.
I know. Yeah, I know. Don't remind me.
Remember we were watching it. We were like, where'd Fishbone come from? He's on his team now?
Shooting the baseline three and missing.
Oh, I know. All right, man. So taking a look at this here. We got the Dallas Stars coming into the Boston Bruins. Boston minus 140. Dallas actually plus 120, Dream, with an under-over 5.5. Any interest in a dog?
No. I got no interest.
All right, moving over to the next one here. It is Tuesday, guys, and I think somebody just referred to some college football. Huh. We'll have to.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, there is college football tonight.
Well, let's finish up with the ice, and then we'll have a conversation there. Feeling the Montreal Canadiens tonight, Dream.
Yeah, you're feeling them because they're dope.
Of course.
They're off to a great start. They've been ripping it up. They've been tearing it up. They've been scoring a lot of points. They got the Senators coming into town tonight. I don't really have a feel for them. I can't give you I can't give you anything with them tonight. I'm sorry.
Got to find out if Carey Price is in goal or not.
Yep.
If he is, then we'll have that conversation. But the Montreal Canadiens should be able to handle business at home with the Senators coming.
I would think so.
You would think so, right?
So.
All right.
Yep.
Let's see a couple of other matchups here. Columbus Blue Jackets are going into the San Jose Sharks. The Blue Jackets are terrible, man.
Yeah, and now there is a slight lean that I do like is I do like the Sharks tonight at the Shark Tank, where they are usually generally pretty good during the season. So I'm kind of leaning and liking the Sharks tonight to win this particular matchup.
To win that particular matchup. Okay, man. And, the rest of them here, I don't really see anything that's really tickling my fancy as far as the ice is concerned, man.
Caps Rangers.
Yeah, Caps Rangers.
I don't know what Vegas has for a lot. What do you have for an over
Rangers
under on that?
minus 135 with an under-over of 5.
Yeah, I kind of very lightly lean towards the over in this particular matchup. I think there'll be some scoring done in that game.
Think so, huh?
Yeah, but it's very light, guys. It's fair. I mean, just it's like guys, it's 9:40.
9:40 a.m.
9:40 a.m. I don't know who's in goal. I don't know what's going on. The star player could have the flu. I have no idea. And guys, I usually am always talking about my Islanders. I have to pull back from the Islanders right now. I don't know what's going on with them. The Islanders are having some scoring issues, as are the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we got to fall back till we see some development as far as the scoring and on both of those teams. So I am not at all endorsing either one of them.
All right, sounds good, man. One game on the ticket tonight as far as college football is concerned. You got the Northern Illini. The Huskies are coming into the Toledo Rockets. Toledo minus 7.5. An undefeated team, 7-0, 4-0 at home. Son, I think they win this game. Northern Illinois is not that good. Although they did, one big thing in their resume, one key ingredient is that they did play The Ohio State University very, very, very tough in Ohio State. So what do you think of Toledo, the Rockets, man?
The Rockets should be decent. They should have this game. I'll be honest with you, though. Drew Hare for Northern Illinois, he hasn't been that bad.
Okay.
1,800 yards passing. They pass the ball, move the ball up and down the field a little bit than Northern Illinois do. I know a lot of you guys love this Toledo team. I don't know, man. I think Toledo's a bit overrated. That's just my feel with them. I mean, I know they're only 20, so I shouldn't say they're overrated. It's not like they're ranked 10 or anything. I don't know. I saw Toledo a couple times, and I just wasn't. I don't know. I just wasn't overly blown away by them. I mean, yeah, they beat UMass 51-35, but that was kind of like a dogfight for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
You got a couple of potent offenses tonight, man. I mean, when you take a look at Toledo, they average, they're number 24 in all of college football, averaging 471 yards per game, 37 points per game. And then when you go over to Northern Illini, they are 448 yards per game, ranked 36th in the land, averaging 36.8 points. So you're probably going to see a good amount of points here. Let's take a look at them defensively and have a conversation about them. I know the defenses definitely are not all that between either one of these teams.
Sure are.
So going all the way down, they're probably all the way near the bottom. Toledo is ranked 51, 367 yards per game, and they're only allowing 16.3. And Northern Illini is right behind them, almost identical as far as yards per game defensively, 368. It's 1 yard greater than them, but they're giving up 24.5 points. So what that means for Toledo is that they're giving up chunks of yardage, but they're not allowing their opponents to score in the red zone, man. So taking a look at this particular game, I think Toledo has the edge, being at home, being undefeated. I think they'll win the game. 7.5 is a little strong, I think. I think if you're to get involved in this, I think that to be honest,
use that word, a little strong.
A little strong, a little heavy. It's a little strong, player. So, you know what? If you're interested, man, teaser, money line situation, something like that, I think Toledo gets the win tonight.
Get yourself an open par going, maybe lead 2 spots, because we got a little something on the horizon coming Sunday. We could close that right out with. That might be appetizing. I kind of am leaning towards Toledo as well. Common opponent, Eastern Michigan. We saw Toledo beat them 63-20, and Northern Illinois beat them 49-21. So obviously Toledo put the smackdown. You know, the game that you scratch your head about with Northern Illinois is that Central Michigan game. Losing that game 29-19 makes you say, you know, you just worry about that a little bit. But, you know, this is going to be, I don't think this will be a blowout by any means. I think it'll probably be a pretty decent game, pretty tight. You probably gonna have a couple of stomach aches with it, no matter what side you take. So be careful there tonight with this game if you get involved in it.
You know, Toledo forces their opponents to not make some great decisions as far as getting into the red zone here, man. So, you know what? I think if Northern Illinois plays a perfect game as far as, you know, their offense is concerned, I think this game can go neck and neck pretty much the whole stretch all the way down to the end, guys. 60.5 points is the under-over. It was at 65. Went down to 60.5. We definitely got to check the weather in this situation, Dream. Let me take a look because I know it's not in a dome. It is clear. No real wind to report. And, you know, we should have looked at the weather yesterday when we were talking about the total. But it was like, guys, we do this at 9 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, I think Toledo wins the game in stomachache fashion. So that's probably the way to go with that. And, you know, you may want to consider pairing that with the Montreal Canadiens or the San Jose Sharks, one or the other. Might not be a bad situation. The NBA is not doing it for me tonight.
No.
You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it, Dream. I am all done with my stuff, man. You got anything for the audience?
I don't have anything. That's all I got. I think it's as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be a easy night. You know, probably take an easy look maybe towards the weekend of what's going on. Otherwise, I'm not gonna. I don't see anything that I really love tonight anyway.
All right, sounds good, man. And you know, like I said, guys, you know, I'm doing the plug-in the Toledo light, very light. I mean, if this game was on a Saturday, I may overlook it. I may not. But if it's on a Tuesday or whatever, and, you know, you want to get your football juices flowing and all that, now, Dream, we're coming into the stretch where we have football every single night.
No doubt.
We have Saturday, Sunday, Monday Night Football. We got Tuesday college, Wednesday college, Thursday college, Friday college, man. It's going to be bananas, kid. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Baylor Bears on Thursday night.
I hear you. Hey, I want to thank everybody that's out there retweeting the show, and even some of you that are not but got slick stuff to say. I'd like to thank Casey Erickson out there, Jeff Ryan, Terrence Mack, Foz Lane as well, KMVU, Razor Ramon, Getting to a Check, Stoopy Betts, Franklin Collado, SD Grind, Tommy King from TK Wins. We got Jason Riley, LA WizKid, JDH24, Rick Lopez, Buster Carr, Brian Mahoney, and thank you to Brian Mahoney for coming on with that stellar information for us. Long Wool, Real Picks, Strategic Investments is out there, INT, Lewis Carter, MG8651, Louis Salazar, Postal Pete, my man Irvin, what's going on, player? The Pick, Christos, AB Lent, JC, BT, Benjamin Rowe, R. Luke, Mario Martinez, Sirach King J, Direct Sports Solution, Pete for Press, OJFB, Marlon, Dan Grossman, and Vegas Girl, 92661. Oh, Dr. Tizzle's out there. Good morning to you,
The evil
player.
genius is alive.
Glad to see that they were able to get you out of the 15-minute watch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Guys. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm doing my closeout, brother.
Bumbling, stumbling. Hey, listen, I am the dream. Always remember who you're with. Make the most of each and every day, as you cannot get this time back.
Yes,
Peace.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Guys, we love you to death. Go out there. Go easy. Do your own homework. Take your own plays. There's hundreds of plays. There's like 10 basketball games a night. There's like 6 to 10 hockey games a night. There is football for days, 7 days a week now. Go easy and get that money. Let's go.
Peace.